What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. Stream it up over there, sportstalk1051.com. You got the app. Download it. Take it on the go. Smart devices, smart speakers, the video stream up and rolling. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start this morning. And what do we got on the game plan? We got a full up, loaded up game plan here. Brewers picking up a win last night, thanks to, well, in part, big part, Sal Frelick having himself a night last night, his first home run of the season. But a couple of Webb gem catches in the outfield, playing center field out there. So it was kind of a Sal Frelick night. Hudson, relief pitcher, continuing to lock it down for the Crew. Brewers putting up 4 runs in the second there, and good thing they did there because they didn't do anything after that. Even though Pittsburgh tried to crawl its way back, but nonetheless, the Brewers picking up a 4-3 win. Joe Ross picking up his second win of the season to improve to 2-4. Brewers now will go for the series win in just a few hours from now. Later on this afternoon, first pitch is going to be at 12:10. 12:10 there. So we'll recap the Brewers game, although we probably mostly just highlight that second inning when the Brewers put up 4 runs there. But yeah, Sal Frelick, he's kind of probably your game MVP from last night with his defensive play and his home run. Kind of got that second inning going there. Ryan Hudson, again, 2 innings of shutout work, 3 strikeouts. I mean, this guy, 2-0 so far with a .74 ERA in 16 games pitched for the Crew. I mean, he's off to a fantastic, absolutely fantastic start on this season for the Brewers. And then today we get to see Robert Gasser again, making another start. What does he have in store for us later this afternoon? Another repeat performance from last week when we saw his debut. That would be something. But we'll see what Gasser has in store for the Crew later on today. So we'll talk some baseball, recap, preview. It's Twins losing yesterday to the Yankees and such. So baseball talk coming up here. Happy schedule release day, NFL schedule release day. Keep you posted if anything leaks out there this morning. But you've had some of the primetime games being released the last couple of days and such. But in terms of Green Bay, we're still waiting to hear more games. We know their week 1 matchup, but for the rest of the schedule, still waiting to see it all play out here. So today is probably a day. No, it's not probably a day. It is a day that we're going to see a bunch of leaks. If you've got the X/Twitter, you're probably going to see some of the beat reporters out there leaking some of the games and such. I know last year was it Matt Schneidman ended up leaking the entire schedule. Got a hold of the entire schedule there. So, but we'll know the Packers schedule after today. So, what are some of the things you look at when it comes to the schedule release, when it comes to the NFL schedule for your team, whether it's Packers or Bears, Vikings, whatever the case may be? What are some of the things that you kind of pay attention to when it comes to a schedule release? So let me know. Hit me up. Join in on the convo with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. We're going to talk some hoops. The Timberwolves now on the brink of elimination after falling last night to the Denver Nuggets. Also, you had Caitlin Clark's pro debut. And then UW Green Bay has a new head men's basketball coach. As we know, Sundance Wicks left after a year, going back to Wyoming to be their new head coach. And it didn't take long for UW Green Bay to hire their guy. And it's somebody you hear afternoons on this station, Doug Gottlieb is going to be the new head men's basketball coach for UW Green Bay. Kind of a surprise, right? Although if you've followed college basketball a little bit, or just sports in general, you probably knew, you probably heard that Gottlieb was attempting to get into coaching. Was it a few years ago that he tried or applied? Was it to OK State, his alma mater, for their coaching job and such? But you heard a little bit that he was maybe trying to get into coaching, and he started off his collegiate career at Notre Dame, and then finished it off with Oklahoma State. And we know in his college playing career, got in a little trouble, right? Was it credit cards, using credit cards, teammates' credit cards, and all that? But his dad, so Doug Gottlieb actually was born in Wisconsin. He was born in Milwaukee because his dad used to be the head coach at UW Milwaukee. So a little familiarity there, right? Got a little bit of familiarity there. So probably the biggest thing with this is that he's also going to continue his radio show. So I think everybody is just kind of curious how that's all gonna work out. Being a Division I head basketball coach, and still continuing a national radio show weekdays. So I guess we'll kind of wait and see at this point. But I know there's a lot of people, maybe the majority, kind of saying this is a hire to maybe draw more attention to the program. I've seen, Dion comparisons in terms of hiring Dion as a head coach. Bringing just extra attention to the program, and that I don't. Let's wait and see, I guess. It was a little bit of a surprising hire, no doubt about it. Well, we'll see how it all works. I think the biggest thing for a lot of people is like, okay, how do you manage doing a national? That's the question for a lot of people. How do you do a national radio show every day, Monday through Friday, yet still coach? I would counter that though too, is like, a lot of those guys, sometimes they've got other duties and they're not on their shows a lot too. I mean, if you kind of know a little bit of a background on Gottlieb's show, you got Dan Byer over there, who's also a Wisconsin native, does a lot over there too. So they'll figure it out. But definitely, I mean, you're getting hired to, for a head coach to go win games and win a bunch of games. So we'll see how he can manage both of those. So, but hey, I'm curious to see how it works out. I'm curious to see, I think the biggest thing is recruits. Does that draw more talent over there? Does that make Green Bay a bigger threat in the Horizon League? You're in Wisconsin, maybe recruiting against Marquette and Shaka Smarts, the Badgers and Greg Gard and that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on the hiring of Doug Gottlieb as the new head coach for the UW Green Bay Phoenix? Hit me up. All right. Let me know. We hear your thoughts on that. So we'll chat a little hoops mix in there too. It is Wednesday, so we'll do a little business of sports coming up just past 8 o'clock this morning. So let's jump into it. So because we got a lot to cover here this morning. We've got some baseball. We've got we've got some football to be chatting about here with the schedule release. We already got our friend Tom from across the pond chiming in on the video stream, saying he looks for divisional games first, then opening and closing games. What do you look for when it comes to your division, or excuse me, your schedule, your favorite team schedule? Is there anything that you kind of look at? And then we'll talk some hoops with Doug Gottlieb being named the new UW Green Bay men's head coach. And then obviously with the NBA playoffs continuing, Timberwolves now on the ropes, Pacers now on the ropes too. We got more games tonight. Stanley Cup playoffs are rolling on over here too. So lots to get to here. Let's just jump right into it. All right. We'll talk a little baseball, recapping the win from last night for the Crew. Brewers now, thanks to the Braves taking down the Cubs last night. Brewers, a little bit more of a cushion, 1.5 game lead over the Cubs for first in the division. Their 25th win on the season, 25-17. So Brewers will try to win another series before embarking on their longest road trip for this season. Their longest road trip of the season. Off day tomorrow before that, but they'll be visiting Houston, then Miami, then coming back north to Boston before they start that Memorial Day series against the Cubbies. Also, Rhys Hoskins is on the injured list. He is on the injured list, 10-day injured list. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's just going to be 10 days. They can extend it and all that sort of stuff. There was some chat yesterday too that he was going to seek a second opinion. So always when I hear that, I get nervous. I get nervous whenever I hear, seeking a second opinion. So could be nothing. Could be absolutely nothing, but I always get just a little bit nervous. So, all right, let's talk some baseball, talk some football. I'll let you guys and gals lead the conversation. All right, hit me up with those texts. I threw out a bunch of questions to you. Doug Gottlieb, NFL schedule release. We got Brewers picking up another win. Sal Frelick night last night. Robert Gasser going on the mound today. What does he have in store for his second start of his career? Love to see a repeat performance from what he had last week. That's kind of a tall task there. So, but anyways, if the computer, there we go. Computer needs a little coffee here. Let's get things rolling here this morning. We'll take our first break. The leadoff coming up after these quick words. If it's been a while since you've hit up sportstalk1051.com, do so now because I need your help. All right, check out the fan cave at sportstalk1051.com. I'm looking to feature some fans of the month, show off your fan dedication, send me a pic or whatever, and you can be featured as our fan of the month. We've got our youth sports highlights, feature your youth sports team or athletes. Want to do that? Backyard tailgates. Got a few recipes up. Thanks to all those who have submitted their creative recipes, especially with this season now, with summer here approaching and such. Maybe looking for some ideas to put something on the grill or the smoker. Share some recipes with us. We've got a few of those featured over there. Weekend Warriors, all right. Softball, volleyball, golf, don't matter. Rugby with Surveyor Sam's team up there. Got a couple of you featured over there too. So we need your photos, your recipes, your nominations, whatever. All right, hit us up. Just go to sportstalk1051.com and click on the fan cave tab, and you can see all of that good stuff over there, including your chance to win some tickets for some express games, Rock Falls Raceway. You can win some tickets over there too, Micon Cinemas tickets for that express game. It's for the May 31st game, which happens to be Sports Talk night. So that's going to be 2 weeks from this Friday night game. So it's going to be Sports Talk night there. Hopefully, we'll see a lot of you out there. It's also going to be the debut of the mobile man cave. We're going to be doing the program. We're going to be doing the program that morning from Carson Park and such. But game will be over there that night too. So big thanks to Toyson Ford, Woods and Water Realty, the Elbow Room, Carpet City Flooring Center, sponsors of the mobile man cave. What do we got here? We got a couple of texts and video stream comments to get to already. G-Man jamming in. DK next Jersey's Sal Frelick, go Brewers today. Win 6-2 and take the series. PS can't wait to watch Tiger in the PJ tournament. Go TW. That'll be tomorrow. Remember, G-Man, first round for the PGA Championship is tomorrow. We're gonna make some predictions for that. So send me your predictions for the PGA Championship. We got Dennis and Elk Mound saying the UWGB news means that you're applying for UW Claire Stout at the next coach opening, right? Never say never, right? Never say never. What else do we got here? We got Brian on the video stream saying, how is Gottlieb still going to do his radio show? I would be concerned about his commitment to the UWGB program. Coaching is a full-time job. That's where I don't know how it's all going to work out, Brian. I don't know. I'm guessing, and this is just pure speculation, so don't take it to the bank. But I'm guessing he probably gets paid more to do his show, and I wonder, if that was it was all had to be part of the negotiation thing. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have to move to Green Bay, right? For one, he's going to have to move to Green Bay. So got to figure that out. I mean, this day and age, everybody's almost got a home studio now, doing everything remotely and such. But yeah, I honestly don't know how it's going to work out, especially with the recruiting side of it all, and I think that's the big question everybody has is how is it going to work out? How is he going to be able to do a daily show, national daily show, and coach? Now, we'll say one thing: the benefit he has as a national show, he's got a staff, he's got producers that can book guests and do all that sort of stuff. So we'll see. This was from his program though yesterday, audio courtesy from the Doug Gottlieb show that you can hear on afternoons here on Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. I do love the quote. I think it's a fantastic quote about if your dreams aren't, if nobody's laughing at your dreams, maybe your dreams not big enough. I thought that was a fantastic quote from him yesterday. But I think everybody is just like, all right, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it rolls. So yeah, I'm with a lot of you right now too. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I'm curious to see how it kind of transpires and such. So, but on the surface, do you? I mean, what else is your thoughts on the hire? Do you think it could be good for the program to maybe gain some more exposure, some national exposure to it? Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, when you got a national sports radio host, and he's also the head coach for a Division I program, the third, let's face it, is between Marquette and Wisconsin battling out for the top, and then you got Green Bay, actually maybe fourth because you got UW Milwaukee in there too. But you know, kind of the little brother of the D1 programs in the state of Wisconsin. When you've got a guy who's a national sports radio host, it's going to gain some extra attention a little bit. It's just that's the nature of it. It's going to happen. So, do you think that's a benefit in itself for for Green Bay? From a basketball side of things, what do you make of the hire? Well, what do you make of it? So hit me up. Let me know your thoughts on that. All right, I'm kind of curious to gauge the thoughts out there. I know when we posted it up on our socials yesterday, like on Facebook and that. You had Kyle said he's a UW Green Bay love and didn't expect this hire, but hope he succeeds. So we'll get back to more of this and some of your comments over there. Brewers last night picking up a 4-3 victory, thanks in part to a monster second inning that where the Brewers put up 4 runs. Got started off with Sal Frelick 2-run home run, and then Brewers just singles and guys moving from first to third, and I mean putting up a big inning in the second there to put up 4 runs, and that's the only runs the Brewers scored the rest of the game, and luckily that's all they needed because they get the victory 4-3. Pirates chipped it away, maybe got a little nervous there in the top of the ninth when they cut it down to just a 1-run lead there, but Joe Ross going 5 innings, giving up 2 hits and 2 earned runs. That home run in the fourth, or excuse me, in the fourth there. After that, I mean, I think this is if you were to tell me Joe Ross has a pitching line of 5 innings and 2 earned runs with 2 hits, I'd probably take that. Maybe you'd like to see 6 innings on there. His pitch count was getting up there a little bit early, especially in that first inning. Then kind of settled down nicely. So, I mean, probably would like to see another inning of work in there. But if you'd have told me, all right, Joe Ross goes out there and gives up 2 earned runs and a couple of hits, honestly, I'm probably taking that more times than not when it comes to Joe Ross. And then the bullpen, I mean, just lights out afterwards. Hudson, we talked about him a little bit earlier in the opener. 2 innings, 3 Ks. I mean, this guy, an unknown kind of, heading into the season for a lot of fans, probably didn't know a lot about him, right? Kind of maybe similar to Colin Ray last year. A lot of these pitchers, let's be real. But so far, what Brian Hudson has done, 2-0, 0.74 ERA. He's got 5 holds on the season. He has pitched in 16 games. He was with the Dodgers for a little bit last year, 6 games over there. And so far, he's off to a fantastic start. Figueroa going 1 inning, striking out 2. McGill picking up his 5th save, striking out 2, giving up that 1 home run there. But, man, Sal Frelick last night, have yourself a game. Got the Gatorade bath, well-deserved, making some sweet defensive plays in center field, getting that first home run. He had to feel good about that. Kind of getting that monkey off the back, getting the first home run. Frelick this year, maybe, offensively, not putting up the numbers that he was hoping for so far. 243. 243. He's got a 635 OPS. His on base is a 321. But big night for him last night with that home run. But then the defensive plays out in center field. I mean, if this is a guy that is going to be able to be that versatile player where, he can play third base at a high rate, at a highly successful rate, can play over there in the pinch, and still continue to play at a high level defensively in the outfield. I mean, he could play any spot out there, whether it's center, right, or left. I mean, a valuable tool, a valuable player for this roster. You need guys like that if you want a championship team, championship roster, guys that can just do whatever they can to get on the field, but also play at a high level. The more you can do, the better. The more that you can do, the better. And Sal Frelick, he displayed that last night. Just a heck of a performance from him. So, we got more games being released. The full international schedule. We got a Vikings game on here. So, the 2020. You mean to tell me Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to Minnesota? Sorry, Vikings fans. You're not going to see Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota because that's going to be in London, England, October 6th. Jets taking on the Vikings. So any Vikings fans may be hoping to catch Aaron Rodgers at U.S. Bank Stadium. Ain't happening. Aaron doesn't get to go back to U.S. Bank Stadium. Come on. Jaguars, of course. Jaguars going to be taking on the Bears on October 13th. That's actually going to be a home game for the Bears, it looks like. And then the following week, the Jaguars will be the home team, but they'll be taking on the Patriots. And then in Munich, Germany, you got the Giants taking on the Panthers November 10th. And, of course, we already knew the Packers and the Eagles will be in Brazil to open up the season on September 6th. So there you have it. We got some more games being released here this morning on schedule day, the NFL schedule release day. What do you look for when it comes to the schedule release? What is it that you are paying attention to the most? Tom said, you got he looks for divisional games first, then the opening and in the closing games. What do you look for? I look for division games, the home and the road. Like for example, when does Minnesota come to Green Bay? When does Green Bay go to Chicago? I look at primetime games. How many of those do I have to stay up late for? Just because I'm old now. And hunting season. What's the game like for the opener of deer season in November? So that's kind of what I look for when it comes to the schedule release. So, all right. Keep the conversation coming, though. Hit me up with some texts, 715-830-1912. Luke is asking, Or I should say, Big Worm's asking, what Packer game will you most be excited about this year? Mine is the Texans at home. Love the show. That's going to be a good one too because I mean, obviously we know Texans with their UCJ Stroud playoff team last year. Then they had Diggs and Daniil Hunter. I mean, they're really taking advantage. They're that team now taking advantage of like, okay, we played really well. Expectations are great. We had a really good coach. I love D'Amico Ryans as head coach over there. So what do they do in this offseason? They spent some monies. They surrounded their now second year quarterback with some talent to try to go for it. And within that division, I think they got a shot to come through again. That's good. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I'd put that one in prime time if I was a schedule maker. Just saying. I'd do that. You know, you got the 49ers one that's going to get maybe some primetime attention too. But Dolphins, I think, would be kind of intriguing. I'd probably go just because we've seen Packers and 49ers for a while now. Honestly, I might go with that Texans or Dolphins game. Because the Dolphins, with their offensive firepower or maybe speed, especially at the wide receivers, I want to see Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Odell Beckham Jr. going up against this new Packers defense that is emphasizing coverage, defensive backs, press man coverage. I want that to me is just I'm more curious to see how that Packers defense with that new philosophy, with that new mindset, now kind of goes up against an offense that is just built on flipping speed on the perimeter. So Texans Dolphins would probably be my top two over there. But I like that Texas one too. Again, if I was schedule makers, it's not gonna. I'd be shocked if all of these go here. But Texans, Dolphins, and 49ers to me are primetime games, prime candidates for primetime games. I don't know if they'd give Green Bay three home games for a prime game. Maybe they will, but they're probably going to put a Bears. They're probably going to put a Lions and Packers game in prime time. Probably going to put a Bears or a Vikings one in there too, just because it's a divisional game. And there might be. It seems like every year there's that one primetime game too. It's like really that's a primetime matchup. So maybe it's like Seattle or a Thursday night game. Maybe it's the Titans or such. I don't know. I think there's going to be a primetime game that might catch some people off guard a little bit too. So but that's a good question. How about if I throw Big Worm's question out to everybody else? What Packer game will you be most excited about this year? Hit me up. Hit us up with a text or a comment on the video stream. We'll take a break and then finish up the first hour already this morning. We'll be back after these quick words. Fourth annual Kasper Classic coming to you August 2nd at Princeton Valley Golf Course in Eau Claire. We've only got a few spots left for your two-person teams. You better head to sportstalk1051.com or 715store.com to sign up your two-person team. Big thanks again to Princeton Valley for hosting us. Also, Hy-Vee, lunch providers over there, Carpet City Flooring Center, Park Ridge Distributing, AJM Automotive Service, The Elbow Room, Muldoon's Menswear, Doodah Gin, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, Hannah Sellner Agency, American Family Insurance, Gemco Surfaces, and Shepke Chiropractic for help sponsoring the events. We're taking some donations too for raffle prizes. If anybody has anything like that, we've gotten some. I know from the Packers have already sent me some stuff, so that'll be over there too. So, but this is, of course, to help fund Backyard Dreams so we can help out those chase their passions, chase their dreams. So, more info again, sportstalk1051.com. I don't know what you're talking about, Don. Don on the video stream saying, I'm slacking. When's he getting his coaching job? I'm an assistant coach and coach pitch baseball right now, Little League. What are you talking about? Wait till flag football starts for the elementary kids. Then you'll really see the playbook come out. So I'm not slacking. I'm doing my due diligence. We just had a game last night too. So come on, man. A couple of you texting in saying that you look for the division games when it comes to a schedule release. Another one of you said how many primetime games, so you know when's going to be a late night out there. I do think Green Bay is going to get the max and primetime games. So is that number 6, 5, 6, 6? So couple more of you saying that you're when it comes to the Packers schedule. This is from Jim. Jim is saying when it comes to the schedule release, I look at how many afternoon versus noon games there are. I'd prefer noon games, although that's probably not going to happen too much with the Packers having a successful season last year and the future looking good. That's another thing too. Like, I prefer noon games. I'd rather have noon games, but yeah, I don't know how many noon games Green Bay is actually going to get. I don't see them. Maybe a couple here and there, but I wouldn't be holding my breath. Wouldn't be holding my breath too much. So, all right, a couple more of you having questions about Doug Gottlieb being the coach for UW Green Bay. I mean, again, not to just kind of encompass everything that you all are kind of saying right now. Is your biggest question is how is he going to do a radio show, national radio show, and still be a Division I head coach? And I'm assuming, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate because I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what the game plan is. Wait and see, I guess, to see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know either. I couldn't tell you. I don't have the answer. I wish I did. I wish I knew how it was going to play out, but I don't. Now, not to compare it or anything like that. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, the man does have a staff. He does have producers that help set everything up. Not kind of solo like we are here right now. So that'll definitely help. I'm sure they're going to be, relied upon even maybe a little bit more. But in terms of, recruiting wise, I got to imagine he's going to be on the road recruiting, practices, games. He's got a good staff. Dan Byers over there too. Dan Byers got a lot of experience hosting shows and such. So, they got a plan. I guess we'll just see how it kind of works out. But do you think this is beneficial for a program like UW Green Bay to maybe get that extra exposure to, you got a national sports radio host that's going to be your new head coach. You're in a state that, you're competing against the Badgers and Marquette and, UW Milwaukee's in your league too. There's a little bit of a benefit there. just kind of looking, I want to bring up all their coaches that they've had. Maybe not all their coaches, but I mean, you had Dick Bennett for the longest time there, 85, to 95, and the success that he had over there too. Then you had Mike Heidemann there for a little bit. Ton. I mean, they've had coaches that have stuck around for the last a few years, but then Brian Wardle was over there too, Link Darner. But it was after that, Will Ryan replaced Link, and then they just kind of been going very short stints. I mean, Freddie Owens replaced Will for a little bit. Then you had Sundance Wicks, who looked like he was turning the program around, but he goes back home to Wyoming and such. So, yeah, I think they just want some stability there. They want to find a coach that obviously can maybe draw a little bit more positive attention to the program and hype them up a little bit, but they need some stability over there too. So, wait and see. Wait and see. All right, Brewers wise, again, they'll be back at it today. First pitch is going to be at 12:10. You can catch that game at 105.1 FM and 790 AM. The final game of this 3-game series against the Pirates. Brewers going to be going for the series win before hitting the road. Off day tomorrow, so probably travel day tomorrow, assuming, unless they decide to hit the road today and get over there tomorrow. Yeah, probably later today. But then they got Houston, Miami, and Boston for their longest road trip of the season. Dave saying, what a night for Sal Frelick. Hopefully that's a game that gets him going here a little bit more offensively. You're right. Hopefully, that home run, jacking that home run, kind of getting the monkey off the back. Hopefully that'll, maybe get him going there a little bit more at the plate. But, what a night just for a confidence booster all around too. It's one thing to get your first home run of the season and, feel good about that offensively, but then to go make some incredible web gem plays out in the outfield, getting the Gatorade bath afterwards. I mean, that's got to be like just kind of maybe taking a deep breath. Like, oh, all right, now we go. It's like, what do they always say for everything? It's the hardest one. The first thing's the hardest thing. First thing, got that home run last night. Got that off. Now you kind of add on to it with some highlight defensive plays. Maybe that was just his deep breath and saying, all right, a little bit more relaxed. And now we can play some baseball. But Sal Frelick, be interesting to see, when Garrett Mitchell comes back. When Garrett Mitchell comes back, how they're going to put together this outfield. Because, in preseason or spring training, we were talking about who's the odd man out when it comes to the outfield. And then you had Sal Frelick playing a lot at third base. But the way Joey Ortiz is playing too over there at third, I don't know if I want Joey Ortiz, riding the pine or going to AAA. Jackson Cheerio is going to get playing time. Christian Yelich is going to get playing time. If Garrett Mitchell comes in, is it going to be a platoon at center between Sal and Garrett Mitchell? I mean, it'll be interesting to see when Garrett gets healthy. Now, I know they talked a little bit about it last night, that the recovery is going maybe a little bit slower than what they expected. But when he's back and he's healthy, and everybody's healthy, it'll be interesting to see how they construct that lineup, who's going to be on the Major League Ball Club. I think one guy that's probably going to be the odd man out might be Joey Wiemer. And I know he's a little bit banged up right now with his knee. But it'll be curious when Mitchell is back how they're going to get everybody in the fold, how they're going to play everybody. Because the way Ortiz is playing, especially at third and his defense, I don't think I want him. I don't think I want Sal over Joey Ortiz right now. I think I'd rather have Joey Ortiz. Dude's pretty smooth over there at the hot corner. And he's been displaying some nice offensive at-bats too. All right, coming up next hour, we'll get back to some more baseball talk for sure. We'll get back to some more hoops talk. The Timberwolves are on the ropes now after winning their first two. A lot of confidence from Timberwolves fans. You had a lot of people saying, hey, they're going to the finals now. They're going to beat the Celtics or whatever. They're on the ropes now. They've lost their last three. What the heck's going on? So we'll talk some hoops. We'll get back to you some more of your comments about UW Green Bay and such. NFL schedule release also. We'll keep you posted if there is any leaks when it comes to Green Bay. But we'll finish up the first hour with Morgs. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, what's a good word in Sportsland here? You liking the draft prep in Green Bay?
Oh, the handoff that they had
Yeah,
yesterday.
did you like
corny,
that?
Little corny.
Okay, so you're not on board then? You think it's too much pomp and circumstance? Yeah. The NFL did the handoff yesterday. You may have seen the videos on socials. Michigan's governor, of course, here came to Evers. They had the ball. There was a ferry ride, all that kind of deal. What did you think?
Corny.
Didn't
Corny's
like
all get out.
But they started the clock already.
Yeah, I saw it's in the atrium.
Yeah.
Yep.
The countdown till next April is now on.
Yeah.
So even for you, somebody that's into the draft, into football, and loves the Packers.
Oh, no, I'm looking forward to it. I just thought the whole pomp and circumstance was a little corny.
Okay. What would you rather do? Like, what would be a good way for – do you have any ideas if you were kicking it off?
I would have done nothing.
Keep it low-key?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I have to say congrats. We were at track meet. We had hosted conferences last night in Boyceville for the Dunn St. Croix conference. And, man, there are some kids with some wheels in the run-in right now. Were you ever a track guy?
8th grade.
What'd you do?
I was brushed off to do hurdles.
Okay, explain that to me. I need somebody who's a hurdler.
I'm not a hurdler.
Very few people are. And there were some really good hurdlers, of course, and you do the 100 or 110 if you're the guys, and then the 300 meters. So there were options. If you're a hurdler, why? Why complicate running? You're already going in a straight line. Why would you interrupt it with blockages to then jump over? It's like a real life video game.
If you're a really good hurdler, it's a work of art.
It totally is. Watching these kids last night at this level, I was blown away. I mean,
I was just put in there because I had nowhere else to go.
But that seems more difficult. If you don't have an event in track and field, the last place you want to be is in the one that has obstacles thrown in, like an obstacle course.
I ran it to where I almost like slowed down or stopped.
Oh my gosh. These kids look like they were floating. They were just gliding over them mid-stride. It's very impressive to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when, we were up in the press booth and being able to look down on it. It literally looked like these kids were floating over the hurdles. But somebody that's doing it, somebody that's your sport, I would love to hear what the draw is versus just straight running, because it certainly seems like you're complicating a pretty easy straight
Probably
shot.
Gives an advantage if you're not like a straight line speedster, but you can have that smooth glide.
If you're really agile, and then you can, keep up with the speed in between the hurdles, I suppose. Yeah. But man, that was impressive stuff.
Yeah, no, I sucked at it, so I'm not the person to ask for
Oh my gosh, I can barely keep my feet under me on solid ground. There's no way I'm throwing in a jump and trying to stay up right there.
Nope.
You think Hudson's gonna lean to the running in it all?
He was pretty proud of his mile run. He just had it in gym class earlier this week.
Yeah.
He said he got second in his class.
Wow.
10 minutes.
Nice.
For a first grader. So I don't know if
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good for him. No. And congrats to all the athletes. I know a lot of kids right now are, wrapping up track seasons and getting into new seasons and stuff.
Yep.
And summer leagues. So Wednesday, wild card time. We're going to go back and forth.
I only got 20 seconds.
It's easy. We're just doing this or that. Trucks or cars?
Trucks.
Lunch or dinner?
Dinner.
Weekdays or weekends?
Weekends.
Pasta or pizza?
Oh, gosh, pizza.
Asia or Europe?
I've never been to either, but I'll go Europe.
Too much sleep or too little sleep?
Too little.
Sleep. What's that, right?
Exactly.
When was the last time you did that?
Thanks.
That's my sport.
Second hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning of May 15th. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from on this NFL schedule release day. We'll keep you posted if anything happens to leak in terms of the Packers schedule or anything notable. So far, pretty quiet, other than the ones that the NFL has already released and such, like the international ones this morning and all that other stuff earlier on in the week. So nothing I've seen in terms of being leaked for the Packers. So hold tight if you're that curious and you want to know right away. Sign up for X/Twitter, and then you'll probably know throughout the day here before the big old 2-hour freaking reveal shows that they'll have tonight on all the networks. So we'll get back to some football talk a little bit later on. We got some baseball talk as well. Brewers day game today. First pitch is going to be at 12:10. Robert Gasser making his second career start. Will he be able to put on a performance like he did last week? 6 innings of shutout ball and picking up his first win. Will the Brewers win this series before embarking on their longest road trip of the season? Brewers currently holding a 1.5 game lead over the Cubs for first in the division. We'll get back to some more comments from all. This probably might be the most that we've ever talked about UW Green Bay men's basketball, but obviously is a big story out in the college basketball world too. So we'll get back to some more of your comments, but I'm leading this off with it was. Gonna say a week ago today, Luke, you were pretty high on your Timberwolves. You were feeling pretty good. You were talking, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat the Celtics, and now you're 1 game away from elimination, man.
Yeah, it changed.
Yeah.
Well, I was waiting for this Nuggets team to show up. They showed up, and well, doesn't help when the Wolves can't hit baskets all of a sudden. They kind of forgot.
Great Rudy Tomjanovich once said. Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
That was going through my head after that. Didn't Mike Malone essentially say something like that in one of his pressers?
Yeah.
Yeah. They came. They finally did. It's obviously not over.
It's over.
It's
done. Stick a fork in them. They're done.
Let's see.
Done.
See. Well,
done. You can't stop the Joker with the Defensive Player of the Year. You're done.
I will say it doesn't help that the Defensive Player of the Year does not seem to be the best matchup. I think it was on the Simmons Rosillo podcast. I think they said Cat's actually the best matchup for him defensively. Like he legitimately can stop him. Well, by stop him, that's in quotation marks. Better than Gobert. I mean, Gobert honestly has been the biggest disappointment individually over the last.
So I know,
games.
And I know in the polls, like when they do those player polls, isn't he up there usually as like one of the most overrated players? I believe he is. And well, he just won another Defensive Player of the Year award. Is this series though showcasing why some players think he's overrated?
Probably. I mean, now also the other part of it is, like you said, Nikola Jokic is showing why he was the most valuable player of the year this season. There was apparently, and I must have missed this, but there was apparently a brewing sort of, whoa, he's overrated on Jokic after the first 2 games. Like, that wasn't, but let's see, because had he won the MVP like by last Wednesday? When was the MVP announced?
I think it was it last week sometime? Because I remember telling Hudson, and Hudson was pissed. So yeah,
it was, but yeah. So there was this sense of between, I guess, the Lakers series where it was okay, and then looking.
I feel like that happens in every sport, though. When it comes to the MVP, it feels like that's every year in the NFL, like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
yeah.
And,
I got whatever. Well, remember, it's regular season, it's not postseason. So.
But apparently that was happening with Jokic too. Like, well, hang on a second. It was trending poorly for him in this series, just those 2 opening games. But for the rest of the team, it was as well. Nikola Jokic is excellent at basketball. And look, I changed my assessment now, a week later, looking at what it is. Right now, I would pick the Nuggets to win the series. I think it can go 7, but I think Denver would win it in Game 7.
Mhm.
I would also say, looking forward, I think the Nuggets would. Oh man, I think I would pick them to beat the Celtics right now.
I probably would too.
Yeah. It comes down to Kristaps Porzingis. Simmons said a couple times, and he would know his Celtics more than any of us would. He thinks, now maybe he changes his assessment in one of his next podcasts, but he said if Kristaps Porzingis is not back, the Nuggets, Timberwolves, they would beat him. They did in the NBA Finals. He doesn't think they're that much of a juggernaut without Kristaps, and even then would probably be close, but then it would be favorite Celtics. I think we're kind of seeing that in the Cavaliers series. That, I mean, look, the Celtics are the favorite to win the East. Knicks are looking really good right now.
I feel like the Knicks, you just slow down. I mean, Drew Holiday, don't even worry about scoring. Just go try to slow down Jalen Brunson, make everybody else beat you.
Pretty much.
That should be the game plan.
Not having OG Anunoby is that ultimately not that he was the key to getting the Knicks to the NBA Finals, but that's putting an absolute ceiling on them, short of a lot of Celtics injuries. But in terms of the Wolves, this is where, because I was saying last week of all these media assessments of, wow, they could sweep, are they going to, the MJ comparisons, all of that. And honestly, I think most of us fans were like, what is going on? We were dumbfounded by it. Now I'm starting to see the whole, Minnesota sports once again, hold up, folks. Let's not whipsaw from best team ever to, we're cursed again. Come on. You got to look at the whole picture here. It's a 7-game series. You're going up against a defending champion who's still a pretty good team. That's what we're dealing with here. And they could still beat them, or they could lose. It could happen. But the media went so far. Gosh, I in a way I appreciated it. In another way, it made everyone collectively look a little stupid again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all those Stephen A takes and everything, like, oh gosh, wow, those were hot takes in retrospect. I want to see, and I think he's got it in him for one of these 2 games, and I don't know that it's going to be enough. I think Anthony Edwards has a oh my gosh game left.
Well, he had a 40-point game the other night, and he still didn't.
He didn't, but
didn't win. So
who?
You know.
Okay,
he'll have a game, but Timberwolves ain't going to win.
But no, I mean not just like a 40-point game, because I'm blanking on who it was. It was one of the usual like basketball types that follow. Was looked at the box score after that game and was like, oh, he went over 40 again. Like it's becoming more commonplace where it doesn't shock you anymore with Anthony Edwards, which tells you the level to which he's risen. But that's not enough. Because he, like you said, he's already done that in this series. But if the rest of the team is going to miss layups, if they're going to shoot poorly from 3 in the clutch, if Gobert is going to get run over, it won't matter. I do think Edwards could have a take over the game. He will will them to win game. But the problem is, I don't know that you could do that twice. And the Nuggets have found their ability again. Yeah, that's why if I had to make an absolute bet now, change the other way. It's the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
That's being real. That's what we're seeing right now in front of us.
I thought whoever was going to win Game 5 would win the series, and
pivotal Game 5.
Oh, it was crucial.
Oh, that
I know DP said pivotal, but for me, if I was the believer, whoever wins Game 5 was going to win the series. To me, that's crucial.
So again, what are our terms? It's pivotal, crucial.
I think those are the top 2.
Yeah. There's, I think, a critical is in there somewhere. That like this would be a critical Game 6 for the Timberwolves, and then of course, Game 7 is
do or die.
Exactly, that's the proper terminology there. The offseason, and I am jumping to the offseason regardless of how the series ends up. Yes, I am, but based on the way this series has gone thus far, Cat thing still needs to be figured out. He has some great moments, and there's still sometimes like, what are you doing with your talent? Why are you? Okay, you want an actual hot take? Here we go. If the Timberwolves are going to win a championship, and by the way, if Anthony Edwards is going to be the face of the league, let's not do the next MJ thing, but if he's going to be the face of the league, the era-defining one, he's going to have to win a championship because all the other ones have. if that all happens, Karl Anthony Towns will not be part of the Timberwolves when that happens. Unless it's this season, unless they go on a run and win it. Well, of course he will. But he will be that guy that was there up until, and then transactions happened, and this team will get better because he won't be on it. That's my kind of...
I don't think that's too much of a hot take. I think that's a lot of people kind of feel the same way with it. So. He's a name. He's got a lot of talent. It almost feels oh, no, I don't like that comparison. Never mind.
Yeah, so. It's because he makes his basketball IQ seems to be lower. I guess it's not D'Angelo Russell basketball IQ low, which again is a stunner because D'Angelo Russell, by a lot of accounts, really smart dude, just not that in tune with what was going on. And I'm gonna put the asterisk a little bit on Sunday, understandably. Some may roll their eyes at this, but look, it's Mother's Day. That losing his mom apparently had a massive, that was like a nuclear hole in his life. And he did not have the greatest game on Sunday. That can be a factor. But there have been enough other times outside of that you see this with Cat. Last night wasn't horrible, but if you're going to be one of the top three, you've got to bring it almost all the time. And I don't think it's quite a match. I think they're going to have to do something different. And I'm saying this all around Gobert getting run over by Jokic, but Towns, I think, has a broader gain that seems to be lacking. I think he will eventually be gone, but we'll see. Let's play the games first.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we got more games tonight as the NBA playoffs continues. We know the Knicks won last night, so the Pacers are also on the ropes, one game away from elimination. Coming up tonight, we've got Dallas and OKC. I don't care who wins that series. Whoever wins between Denver and Minnesota is going to beat those teams. Then you got Cleveland at Boston. We'll make our picks later on here, but that one kind of 15.5 point favorite for Boston again. So I did see they were only favored by 9.5 the other day. So I think that's the first time they've been under double-digit favorites so far this postseason. So just putting that out there. Early lines for tomorrow night's game. Minnesota is favored by 2.5.
Wow.
I don't know if, does the NBA have that home court 3 points like the NFL did?
I don't know how that works.
I'd have to look that up and figure that out. So over under on that game is 204.5, by the way. So
more of a defensive battle. I could see that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of hoops, what was your reaction when you heard Doug Gottlieb being named as the men's basketball coach at UW Green Bay yesterday?
The chin rubbing emoji.
And I'll be honest, I forgot until I was like, oh yeah, his dad did coach at UW Milwaukee. Well, he is born from Milwaukee.
So that made a little more sense to me. Like, he's got the Wisconsin connections. So maybe that was part of why versus like if it were, I don't know, like University of Idaho. It makes just my luck. He probably has an Idaho connection. He's got a lot of connections all over the country, actually. The Wisconsin thing made a little bit more sense, the state of Wisconsin thing, but I was
even just a league connection, obviously, with his dad being the head coach.
Right. So. Yeah. So the level is there. Yeah. I'm like most of us. I was wondering, okay, so what about the show?
I think that's the biggest question, isn't it? Yeah. If he didn't have a national show, or if he wasn't keeping it, maybe that's the best way to say. If he wasn't keeping it, would it be as questioned as much as it is right now?
No. Yeah. I mean, there'd be a little bit of media guy is going to be a coach that we see that a fair amount.
Yeah. I mean, we see that as general managers now. I mean, the NFL, right? John Lynch, going over to media and then he's general manager. I mean,
Mike Mayock.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of getting immune to a little bit. I mean, Steve Kerr was in the media before, right? Mm-hmm. Before in that. So the fact that he's keeping his show, I think, is the biggest question. Like, okay. Yeah. How's that going to work out?
And you were talking about this earlier. He's got a staff to help him out, but you still have to do the show, do it well. You are the face of it. People are not going to evaluate your research department guys individually. They're going to evaluate you for what you say. And Doug Gottlieb has a lot of takes, a lot of hot takes. That's kind of his shtick. Mm-hmm. So I hope he's still knowledgeable in that. But if you're not, That's like he's one really misguided take away from, well, that ain't working. If it says something like, I'm going to make up something. Let's say what would be a January sort of thing. So, but maybe not the NFL because that's so big at that point that like it's pretty tough to miss something. Let's say he makes some comment about the 76ers. And it's like if Joel Embiid is going to be out for another 3 weeks or something, I'm not doing a Gottlieb impression, but it turns out that like he's been playing for like 2 weeks and he's not injured or something. And then they've also lost like 3 in a row at UW Green Bay. Like, okay, your takes are off. You're not performing well. This isn't working. And I could see something like that happening. And so that
my question would be, I don't know if it's with that. It would almost be, can you, when it comes to college basketball, how much can we, I don't want to say trust, but like take away from like, what can he say about college basketball? Like that wouldn't turn into quote unquote locker room material for some teams or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, can he, how deep can he go into talking college basketball when he is now a D1 college basketball coach?
You almost can't. Yeah, I mean, it's that one of those scenarios where you really can't discuss the thing to which you are closest. You know, sometimes certain people will not comment on that because it's too close to their field. I guess the one saving grace is that it seems, now again, this is just my perspective. Maybe you're catching this different, but I feel like especially in the transfer portal NIL era, especially to a degree before, but especially now, that commenting about the actual teams on a national basis is not that prominent. It's almost like there's more college basketball talk with regard to the concept of the portal and NIL versus going all in on one particular player from one particular team, unless it's like a Duke player or someone like that that's going to jump out, or a player of the year, maybe like a Zach Edey or someone like that because they're of their quality. So he can probably skate around that. I mean, it's like the old rip on ESPN that all I want to talk about is the NBA and the NFL. Okay, well, the reason why is because that gets attention. It gets ratings. So he could probably just be like, you know what, I'm just going to talk about NFL and NBA all winter long. Mm-hmm. He'd be good. His ratings would probably hold up. Like, people aren't demanding for his takes on Gonzaga. So he'd be okay. But it does mean if there is something that's kind of semi-controversial, what are you going to do? What if a team turns into like a bully sort of team? Are you going to talk? And are you going to talk about them?
Right.
It's not ideal. No.
Yeah.
If I were him, I would do one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? If you were in his...
Well, first of all, I don't know why everybody now, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of you, I've gotten messages like, when am I going to be a coach now? You know, come on now. I have to bust out my playbook that I worked on for whatever reason when I was a freshman in college. I don't want to be a coach. Wait till you know, I'm helping out with Coach Pitch right now, Little League. So wait till flag football season gets here for second graders, and you really see the talents come through.
Hey,
no, but is this Dion-esque? Where, like, on a surface, does it gain exposure to, let's say, the fourth D1 team in this state, behind Wisconsin, behind Marquette, back and forth with UW Milwaukee, right? I think that's fair.
Yes.
Does it gain more exposure on a national side? Absolutely. Will that initially help? Does that, like, all of a sudden, I think the main question that we have to answer is, like, if I'm a recruit now, maybe in the state of Wisconsin, I know that guy. He's got a, national show. Is that automatically gonna get you more recruit? I don't think it does, to be honest with you. I don't know if it does. And I know that's what a lot of people are saying with him. It draws that exposure. It's going to draw exposure to the program, no doubt about it. But if I'm a 17, 18-year-old, does that matter to me? Like, how many of them actually know who maybe Doug Gottlieb is? You know what I mean? Like, he's not on the college basketball shows anymore, like he was on CBS. He's not on there anymore. So I do question that a little bit. I think it's more of an attention grabber for us, for people of our age or our generation or our roles. But as a 17, 18-year-old, does that matter too much? I don't know if it does, especially in the NIL world. I don't think that matters. He's got to go out there and just win games, I think. Let's see, you got to make – UW Green Bay has been successful. When they have been successful, it's because of really good coaching, starting off with Bennett and Link and, Wardle and such. Doug's got to prove that he can be a really good coach. That's the only way you're going to be successful in Green Bay. It can't be just because of the media attention and a celebrity status, if you will. College basketball has changed now. Kids, they're looking for the money. There's transfer portals and all that. The only way Green Bay is going to be successful is if he's a really good coach. And that remains to be seen at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I did wonder if this was in part to make Green Bay more attractive because, hey, you got Doug Gottlieb. But
how many 17, 18-year-olds care about that at this day and age?
They don't. Not many anyway. I mean, I guess if it's a matter of versus any other coach who isn't a media figure, I mean, I guess it's a net positive in that regard.
I feel like, so let's use the Deion comparison because I've seen people say that. Younger people, I feel like football players know more who Deion is because of, well, first of all, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a personality, and I think he relates more to a younger crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Than maybe what Doug Gottlieb does.
Yeah.
That's just, okay, that's a sports radio guy. Yes, he used to play college basketball. Got trouble when he was playing college basketball.
Yeah.
But I see where people are using a Deion comparison, but I don't agree with the comparison. I don't think it's fairly accurate. I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think Deion is suited for the transfer portal, NIL sort of thing, because that's what Deion was like when he was in college. He wanted to get paid. He understands that role.
Well, and it's also got to work too. I mean, we've seen the Sanders, shall we say the I'm trying to come up with that whole rose bloom analogy, blah blah blah. You know what I'm talking about, and the bloom is off the rose, I think is what I'm trying to say here. I mean, Colorado may end up still turning into a national title contender, but it's looking rockier than we thought at this point. So Colorado was clearly going for attention. I think to a degree, Green Bay is going for attention, but there has to be a reason for the folks to want to stick around besides, hey, you can hear them from 2 to 4 nationwide.
Well, and the thing is too, is like, okay, Green Bay has a really good player. I think the odds are, okay, they get a really good player and he has a fantastic season. Odds are he's probably going to transfer to a bigger program, right? I mean, given today's age, he's probably going to leave.
Of course, until and unless the NCAA figures out like kind of a collectively bargained sort of situation, whatever that is. And I know I'm throwing in union terminology and we're not dealing with a union, but you know how they talked about is getting this settled so that if you take NIL money, essentially you got a contract and you cannot break the contract. So we're not having the sports cliche Wild West of right now, where a Green Bay player could get good this upcoming season and bam, he's gone for $1 million somewhere else.
Well, and here's the other part in this too that we're not maybe kind of taking a look at here. Is this just a step for what Gottlieb eventually wants to do full time? And that's go to a bigger program and be a head coach. Because it wasn't that long ago, a few years ago, there was that talk that he wanted the Oklahoma State job, his alma mater, and he interviewed for it.
Well, in that regard, that's the smart move. I mean, yeah, okay, so let's take
he goes out there, he has a good year. Let's say they have a good year. That raises his stock maybe for bigger programs. That's probably what the end game is here, isn't it?
Probably.
I don't think Doug Gottlieb is going to be there for 10 plus years. He's not going to be the next Dick Bennett, right?
No.
He's not going to be that guy.
I'd believe it if it were UW Milwaukee, but that's the only scenario. And even then, Oklahoma State makes so much sense. Of course, OK State's going to have to want him,
right?
Too. But yeah, and he knows a lot about basketball. It's not just sports talk guy who says a lot of opinions. there's a reason he's been a basketball analyst a lot. He knows the sport really well, way more than most of us do. Now, does that translate to being a coach? That's trickier. We're going to find out.
Kind of like the J.J. Redick thing. If J.J. Redick gets a head coaching job in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, yeah, he's clearly very smart at analyzing the sport. But will he do well? Well, and that's even more managing personalities. I guess it's easier at the college level because it's more straight up coaching versus managing. I don't know. I will be fascinated. I almost hate to bring this up, but I'm going to anyway. Are you rooting for him to succeed?
I'm rooting for him to succeed because that means the program is succeeding. If it's better for the state of, of basketball at UW Green Bay, yeah, why not? Absolutely. I feel like he views this as like, okay, if his ultimate goal is to be a D1 head coach, which I think at this point it is. And if he does get a bigger program, one, he cannot continue the radio show then. I think we would all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a stepping stone for him.
Yeah.
I think that's, the thing that's maybe getting overlooked here where we're like, well, is this going to work? If it only works for Gottlieb, I think that's the end goal here. It's not going to be a long-term thing here.
No.
But when I look back at what Green Bay has done the last few years with their coaching, you go from Will Ryan, who didn't have a lot of coaching experience, but he had the name, right? Bo Ryan's kid. Didn't work out. They go make a hire of Sundance Wicks, who turned around the program. But then he goes back home. And it felt like Green Bay is now like, okay, let's bring in another name type of player. I feel like they got to find that coach that's going to be there long-term. My question is, remember when he was an assistant and he didn't get hired. He was a finalist, but he didn't get hired. Do you think they regret not hiring Greg Gard?
Yeah, probably. Because they would have been a little
bit more stable, right?
And maybe he would have ended up at Wisconsin at some point anyway if another choice had worked out poorly. But I think that probably would have helped. Yeah, that would have been better. Now, look at it this way from Green Bay's perspective. If Gottlieb turns out to be a really good coach, let's say they end up as like a 7th seed in the NCAA tournament within a couple years or so. That is a lot more exposure for UW Green Bay in a general sense. Not even just a recruiting, just in a general sense of, oh, you really got them on the map. I know every few years they make the NCAA tournament. So it's not like the first time in 50 years. But
for a team like Green Bay, is that just the main goal? I hate, they don't have national championship goals, right? They may say it, but let's be a little realistic here.
Well, and also it's okay. While I just said UW Green Bay is familiar enough with regular college basketball fans, they mainly know the team probably as one of those that gets listed as, I'm picturing Greg Gumbel going, the Phoenix from UW Green Bay going up against the Billikens from on Selection Sunday. That's about all they know of Green Bay, but they're familiar with them because they're in that batch. But national media overall, I'm not sure if they really know what to make of UW Green Bay. And I reference one example, but ESPN's headline says Gottlieb going to Green Bay or something like that. They just said Green Bay. That threw me off. Now, that's because I'm a Wisconsinite, and so I know the UW schools as UW schools.
Well, people know Green Bay because of the Packers.
Right. So when I see Green Bay, I'm like, well, it's just listed as Gottlieb, like Green Bay is hiring. And they made it clear it was a basketball thing. But at the same time, I'm like, but wait, Green Bay. Oh, UW Green Bay.
Yeah, not St. Norbert.
Right. This is different. So I don't know that nationally folks really know how to assess it other than, oh, they've got a pretty prominent basketball school in the same place as the Packers. So no one really, not no one, but national media in general doesn't really know how to assess the team. But if they become higher profile, they will. Somehow they will. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how it works, and I hope it does.
Yeah,
but it may not.
Yeah, if it does, that's great for the program. So, all right, we got to take a break. We'll be back after these quick words. I gotta tell you, I'm a little impressed. Not a little, very impressed that we haven't had any leaks yet this
That's
morning.
true.
NFL cracking down on that? I don't know.
Maybe.
Throwing an ultimatum or something, but
Yeah, like within an hour, we could already be overloaded with stuff.
could be. But I'm actually impressed we haven't had anything so far. So a
By
little
the way-
disappointed too. But
By the way, just because this just popped up in my Twitter feed and it is football related, how much of the most recent Aaron Rodgers interview have you watched? Over under 5.5 seconds.
Over. I didn't even know it until it just like popped up. I'll be honest. I was scrolling through TikTok last night and it popped up. I'm like, what is this? And then I regretted it.
Oh,
So yeah.
thankfully, I don't watch porn.
Oh, what?
That's an Aaron Rodgers quote.
Oh, okay. I don't. Okay, I didn't know what you were referring to. There,
No, that's an Aaron Rodgers quote.
okay.
If y'all want to watch it, go ahead. Yeah, have fun.
Thank you.
Have fun.
It was about a minute and then I just went through. So
Yeah, the rest of us have better things to do with our lives, like literally anything.
again, I will say this for a man who went out and said we have to stop with the distractions and all that. You are the one doing this, dude. Why are you doing this to your team?
Yeah.
You are the one doing it. You're being hypocritical.
You don't have to go on Tucker Carlson of all people. I mean, come on.
You don't have to
That
go
isn't
on
just-
any podcast or any show.
I know it's May also. Okay, fine. I get it. If you're going to do it, probably do it in May as opposed to like November.
It's just to me, if you're going to criticize your teammates or coaching staff or whatever and say for us to be a championship team, for us to be successful, we can't be having any distractions. Dude, look in the mirror and look again because you are the one that is doing it. You're the one that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this. He's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Why go out there and put yourself on it? Which I agree with him. I agree. If you want to be a championship team, you can't have distractions. I completely agree with that.
Doug Gottlieb, shout out.
But you cannot be the one. It's so hypocritical, dude. Why is this so hard to understand? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm just glad it's not in Green Bay anymore.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So
Deal with that, New York.
and here's you guys. Come on, you get the Jets in London for crying out loud, or wherever it's at international game.
Jets Vikings October 6th in London.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, you can't have them go to U.S. Bank and get booed. Come on, NFL. That's weak. That's weak sauce. I was really hoping.
That's an interest. Gosh, I'm just reading this right now. I didn't see that. Like, actually, the tweet came up right as you started mentioning that as I'm scrolling through, and I just came across that.
What tweet?
That from Albert Breer mentioning the international series.
Oh, yeah.
Jets Vikings,
Yeah.
October 6th.
Yep.
Yeah, that is. Wow, I'm processing that the whole like, oh, so Aaron Rodgers can't be booed at U.S. Bank Stadium, like you were just saying. Huh.
What would they have had? Remember last year at the longest time, it was like, oh gosh, it's going to be Rodgers returning to Lambeau. What would they have just moved that to an international site then just to avoid that? Bull. They wouldn't have done that.
We were pondering that, I think. I want to say we were like, was that going to be the game that gets shifted or something? So, wait. So the Jets, let's see. So,
because this is a home game for you guys. So
right.
Yep.
Yeah, because the Jets aren't playing the NFC North, obviously, because of the way. So there's no Aaron Rodgers owning Soldier Field and the Bears.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So
yeah, presuming he's still playing, that he doesn't get injured again.
it is. They do open Monday night, which is a curse for him. So
Boy,
when we say curse, it's been 1 year. So
yeah,
happened one time. So
one a curse, two's a trend, or whatever the term is, or something.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, quickly before you get to your next point, which team's social media unveiling?
Isn't that the thing now? I think more
is.
people are looking forward to that than maybe the actual schedule release.
Right. That because there's something a little different with it. It can live on its own versus trying to speculate on all sorts of stuff that's going to change anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Which team are you most excited to see?
Chargers.
Yep. I was going to say the same thing.
Chargers, but also not only just because they were awesome last year. you got a gold mine now with your new head coach to really utilize this.
Mhm.
With your head coach in Harbaugh, who's already just a one-liner machine.
Don't overthink it, Chargers.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can.
Don't
you can
overthink it. Don't overdo it with Harbaugh either.
That being said, the Titans one got
Titans, yep.
They got multiple replays at home. I brought that back a few months later to watch with Marie, and we still laugh at it every time. Rawr!
The one that will be the most disappointing, but maybe shouldn't be the most disappointing because we should just expect it. Green Bay won't do anything creative. I know David Bakhtiari called them out last year on it, the social media team.
That's okay. Like, not everyone has to try.
I do feel like Green Bay's social media team needs to step it up a little bit in the entertainment factor.
You know what? If I were Green Bay, I'd own the whole, okay, we're the opposite of that. And like be intentionally cringe. That could actually be really hilarious. Now, of course, that can also really go sideways too. So you got to do well.
Yeah, because even their draft thing yesterday was a little corny, I will say. I mean,
handoff.
Well, even like, okay, this is not meant to be political at all. But Tony Evers, did you hear what he said?
I did not hear it. I mean, okay, anytime I'll preface this without hearing it. Do you have the clip?
I can bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime a politician, again, let's take out party idea. Anytime a politician gets involved with these sorts of things, unless it's one of the very handful that like gets it, and there are a handful that do. Most, oh boy, and personality, Tony Evers, by most accounts, just a good person outside of the politics, but boy,
and it's
media-wise, yeah.
So it starts off with the Michigan governor. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play up to the point where I'm like, that didn't sound right. So Here we go. Big grudge.
Like, oh, and the music, by the way, the music is an underrated part of the fringe element of this whole thing. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
Dun. Oh my gosh.
But when he caught that ball and he's like, thanks, Big Gretch. I'm like, wait, what? Is that what? I'm sure that's a name, but what?
I've never heard Gretchen Whitmer referred to as Big Gretch.
And I was like, oh.
Maybe that is her nickname. I don't know. By the way, I know this is, I'm far from the first person to know this. Solid Michigander accent on Governor Whitmer. Oh my, and you're over to Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, that is an accent. Evers got kind of an accent too, but dang.
Yeah, I was like, that was all corny.
The whole thing, yeah. And I didn't even see it, but you could already tell the audio on Whitmer's end. It's clearly like a phone in the background, so you don't even get like good microphone on it. Then again, the stock, hey, let's look for something kind of upbeat here. Hi, thanks, Big Gretch. I did see a screenshot of him, though, with like the big smile in front of the lake.
Yeah.
Like, hey. Yeah, it's, is it April already?
They got the countdown thing in the atrium, so. I cannot wait. Really quick, because we got to take one more break. You know, this is what's going to happen. I'm already envisioning it. It's going to be November. Okay, it's going to be November. I hope this doesn't happen, but let's say Green Bay's not playing well. Okay? Not playing well. Maybe on the outside looking in. There's going to be a contingency. It's going to happen. That Mark Murphy and the Packers were more focused about getting ready for the draft than they were for the team. It's going to happen.
I just made that face of like,
you know it's going to happen.
Yes.
It's going to happen. You're going to get a writer to Murphy's 5, whatever takes 5. You guys were too focused on the draft that you weren't focused on the team.
Justin in Tucson?
Yes. It's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Prepare for it. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, that's going to be a reason.
Because Jordan Love, let's say he has one of those seasons. Yeah, because his QBR is 62. Thanks, Mark Murphy.
You know how Green Bay is going to break Detroit's attendance record? Is if Green Bay wins the Super Bowl this year and then the draft is also there. That's how they do it.
Now that would do it. Yeah. Look, I don't know that it could top Detroit just because of, I mean, there's capacity. Yeah, you could put more people in, of course, but there are a lot of other logistics to it. Didn't I see a estimation that maybe it'll be 250,000 people in Green Bay versus 700,000?
Now, is that total or just the day?
I didn't see that.
Okay.
Which that surprised me, but I thought if I thought Green Bay could probably top it. There's going to be a bit of a motivation now that we're hearing more about numbers with regard to draft attendance. I would think a lot of people would want to go there to try to break the record.
I think my prediction is going to be 3-day total event, 550. 550.
It's reasonable.
I don't think they're going to break Detroit.
And I really do hope no one's like, oh, see that. No, come on. It's, again, understand we're dealing with a smaller market here. There's literally not as many people, even though it is kind of a sports mecca. People will travel to Green Bay. Obviously, we know that.
They'll travel. They just got to find somewhere to stay. That's the
issue. That is a bit of an issue, yeah.
So, all right, we got to take our final break here to wrap up the second hour. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Just a few minutes to the top of the hour here, so we're going to get to a little business of sports coming up. Just past 8 o'clock, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. It seems like a popular topic that we've had when it comes to these has been streaming, and now we've got another bundle to talk about that was announced yesterday. Was it
kind
yesterday?
of cable-esque.
Yeah, so we'll get to that coming up just past 8 o'clock. Did you catch any of Caitlin Clark's pro debut?
Just a little bit.
I felt like it wasn't as hyped up as I thought it would be.
Really?
Because I'll be honest with you, kind of forgot about it.
I've been hearing a lot of WNBA season startup. Maybe, honestly, kind of track with what you're saying. I didn't hear as much of Caitlin Clark's first game.
Mhm.
There was I almost feel like there was more on her first preseason game.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But then there was the WNBA season, which the league as a whole, and I know a lot of it's Clark, but it feels like it's taken a leap this year in terms of significance, importance, all of that. That's good, but it's that has happened. So I was also part focused on all of the season predictions, and Nafisa Collier from the Lynx said, what are her MVP chances? She's probably top 5 in the league. I don't think she's going to win MVP, but she's going to be up there. What are all the prospects across the league? All of that. So, but Caitlin Clark in particular, there was that one shot where it's she goes in and gets blasted. Welcome to the WNBA. I mean, you're dealing with the pros now.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so one game in, let's see how it goes from there. But yeah, it was not as much as I was expecting. But I've also been seeing a lot of ticket prices for this game are way 340% higher than normal. And yeah, I think the average price to get to Target Center to watch the Lynx Fever game, I can't remember the exact total, but it's in the hundreds. Good luck. You're not walking up to the door for that one.
I am so I was just kind of curious. You want to know what the ticket stubs are for her first pro game are going now on eBay?
What?
It looks like again, this is just a ticket stub, $150, $190 on here. So yeah, you got okay, there's some more on one person's asking $300 for crying out loud.
Wow.
So yeah, I was kind of curious because we know ticket stubs sometimes can go for big deals. So, and honestly, if she goes on to have the career that I think a lot of people are expecting, that's probably going to go up more.
Oh,
so.
Right. It'll mean more to me if she turns into a superstar at the WNBA level, like a regular champion. I get the attention right now. Totally understandable, but let's see how that turns out going long term, and we'll see if it translates.
Yeah. So to kind of put it in reference, the tickets that I'm looking at were purchased for $30, but now they're asking for $150 for just the stub because obviously the game's over with. So,
right.
And it's not a fancy ticket stub by any means. There's no pictures or anything on there really. It looks like it. I mean, it's very generic. So
yeah. So I mean, but there are people that are going to buy it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Probably a lot of Iowans, honestly. Well, and that's probably a big reason why that Lynx game has such high ticket prices. A lot of folks from Iowa, a lot of Iowa natives and Iowa fans live in Minnesota or Western Wisconsin. That's their biggest opportunity. I mean, you could go to Chicago, but there's a whole lot more going into Chicago just because logistically and hotel stays and all of that, it's more expensive. So they're going up to Minnesota, and that's jacking up the prices there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Shot clock's going to cut us off in about 30 seconds. So in the final hour, as we said, we'll kick it off with a little business of sports. We'll get you, well, there isn't any leaks yet with the NFL schedule, but if anything does happen to pop out there, we'll let you know. We'll get back to some more baseball. Brewers, first pitch just a few hours from now. They'll try to win this series. Robert Gasser going to be back on the mound for the Crew. His second major league starts. Does he have another start like he did last week in his debut? So we'll talk a little baseball as well in the final hour. 2 in, 1 more to go. Got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off a little business of sports. Final hour on this Wednesday morning coming at you. If you want to hear from Doug Gottlieb, he's actually going to be on DP show 9:25 our time. So there you go.
All right.
I guess one thing here, you don't really have to worry about a coach's show. He can just do his own, right?
That's true.
You know, a lot of those coaches have their own shows and that. So I don't know. Maybe you don't have to worry about that as part of that.
Kind of like a version of the NBA player podcasts that's become a thing.
That's true. So, but yeah, you can hear from the new UW Green Bay men's head basketball coach, Doug Gottlieb, on the DP show, which I got to imagine he's not going to be a filler in for DP anymore either.
I would think not.
Because he is, whenever Dan Patrick is out, Doug is usually one of those guys, but I would imagine that's not going to be the case anymore. But never say never, I guess, at this point. So who knows? But yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? We're all just kind of curious to see how this all works, how this all plays out.
Yeah.
So and we won't know until it actually happens, till it starts.
That's right. Wait till November or really December or January.
Yeah. So, all right, it's coming up here. We're gonna, well, if there are any leaks in the final hour, we will tell you what they are with the NFL schedule. I will say, if there is no leaks, or even if we don't get any leaks until maybe a couple hours beforehand, well done, NFL. You did your job, I think.
It'd be kind of nice. Again, I like the idea. I mean, I get.
I don't like the idea. I want to know right away. Just release it, for crying out loud, and get it over with.
Like, I mean, the leak thing gets weird too, because you're like, okay, wait, what? What's this? And then I would kind of like to have, all right, here it all is.
You know what grinds my gears about this, though?
What?
Of the easiest games to schedule, they won't have the preseason game scheduled.
When
That's the easiest one, but they'll say TBD. To be determined. They'll have the opponent, but they won't have the date on there.
You would think, like, what are they working around on that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's kind of a semi-regular thing, too.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, are teams still working on... Do we know who they're playing in the preseason yet? I can't remember.
No, we don't.
I mean, I figured they're probably playing the Browns because
they only got one home game because they got the 9 regular season home games this year. So
is this the NFL trying to devalue the preseason so they can get up to 20 regular season games?
Well, I mean, Roger Goodell's already said that he does not like preseason games. He said that on Pat's show.
Well, there you go. See, he's trying to make it a non-issue. So we don't care about that, and we want more regular season football.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
more games.
All righty. You ready to do some business of sports brought to you by Security Financial Bank?
Business of sports.
Speaking of, what did I say?
No, I was just saying business.
Okay. I was like, did I mess something up?
No, you actually got that one right.
Speaking of the NFL schedule, I think one of these two, I don't know if we'll know it, but this whole, will Netflix have the Christmas Day games? Will that be revealed with the schedule announcement too?
I think it will. Well, by most accounts, that's why this got delayed apparently to this week from last week, because of the late negotiations on that. And now Amazon has gotten in on this, so it may be a Prime Video thing instead.
It seems like it's between Amazon and Netflix, right? That they're kind of bidding back and forth.
Yes.
So I know this was from a few days ago, but Variety said Netflix is likely to score a pair of Christmas Day games for this year, which I also saw the other day too. Whoever does play those Christmas Day games, because that's a Wednesday, isn't it? Christmas is a Wednesday. Yeah,
it is. That's why this whole controversy. Oh, NFL on Wednesday. Yeah.
So whoever's playing those games would actually be playing the Saturday before too. So that's where there was a report too that was it NBC got a Saturday game.
Correct. On December 21st.
Yep. So those teams who are playing on Wednesday are going to be playing the Saturday before.
With a Peacock game, I think, in there or something like that.
So there's a trickle-down effect with that, too.
Do you care one way or the other on more Prime Video games versus Netflix games? Because you have both of those, right?
I don't. I've got Prime currently right now, but I don't have it all the time like I do Netflix.
Okay.
So to make things easier, I'd rather have it on Netflix.
Okay.
But
Which is interesting because Netflix doesn't really do live sports. That's why this is... I mean, you'd think at first blush, like, oh, Netflix.
Well, they did was it a MMA?
They did, but
or UFC or whatever.
But it's not like.
And now they're doing the Tyson and Jake Paul thing.
So they're doing like one-offs.
Yeah.
But they're not like doing
Well, they're getting in the game now.
a regular league. It's in the game.
Mhm.
I wonder if they're going to move more in that direction. But again, they've been a bit more of a holdout versus most of the others have like a regular schedule. I mean, even though Amazon has, Apple TV has with baseball, we see the NBA thing coming up, all of that. Netflix is held out from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, just a philosophical thing. And their attitude might be, well, we'll take Christmas Day games, but that doesn't mean we're going to now start bidding for season-long packages with different leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But it still would get them attention.
Right.
Get that Christmas gift subscription to the diehard New York Jets fan in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably, I think you're on to something there.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I think you're on to something.
Depending on who's playing, of course, the 4 teams that are going to be playing. But so we'll know if we have to stream something. It's not going to be a CBS game. It's going to be something, and I would say I'm 99% sure, really, that we'll know if it's Netflix or Amazon later today.
Yep.
Is that why this is getting buttoned up to a little bit? That the NFL's like, look, we're still finalizing the negotiations. We're doing the whole dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Don't leak anything, because if like the Jaguars are like, we're gonna be on Netflix on Christmas Day, and then like it's not finalized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds a little stupid, but I think there's somewhat of a chance that that's actually what's going on here. That the NFL has done a whole do not release anything. We could lose a lot on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's, I guess, one, when I've asked the question, what do you look for when the schedule release out there? That might be another thing too, that not a lot of people have said, but what are your favorite teams? What networks they're on? Because you might have to decide if you got to sign up for something or not.
Yep.
So that's another thing now that we have to factor in when we look at the schedule thing. I always looked at when you play at Chicago, when Minnesota comes here, how many primetime games, because then I'm going to be crabby in the mornings unless they win. And then the opening of hunting. Now I got to be like, okay, which streaming service are they going to be on? Do I got to sign up, or do I get that free trial?
So conceivably, your favorite team, I say that in a general sense, your favorite team could be on CBS, ABC, and NBC, Fox, of course.
We know they're on Peacock to open up.
Peacock, Amazon Prime Video,
mm-hmm.
Netflix. I think that's it for this year. I don't think we're going to get a surprise like Paramount Plus. Oh gosh, if I'm, this is not a knock on Paramount Plus per se, but if they get in on this, like at a certain point, I'm like, nope, come on, stop, just stop.
Yeah.
But like I was saying last week, the NFL versus the NBA, they prefer having most of their games still on free over-the-air broadcasting. They'll do the streaming for the event kind of ones that also aren't super significant, i.e. the Super Bowl, but they'll do that for Black Friday. They'll do that for Christmas Day. They'll do that for a wild card game and maybe a divisional round game. And also Thursday Night Football, considered the redheaded stepchild of NFL scheduling days. But they're not going to do it for Sunday 325.
Mm-hmm.
No, that is always going to be on CBS or Fox or whomever ends up in the long term. Because, again, breadth, getting as many people watching as possible, because they'll spend money on NFL-related stuff in other ways.
Well, it's funny you say that, too, because I've got a chart here. This is from finance.yahoo.com when they talk about this other bundling package with Netflix and Apple and was it Peacock on there, too? It's a monthly growth by streaming platform chart. Peacock. You want to know when their highest growth was?
Was it either December, January, or when the announcement was made?
It was January. Which, remember, there was a playoff game, right?
Huh. Involving a certain
almost straight up spike right there. And then guess what? March went all the way down.
Yep.
Like it just pummeled after that. Hulu had a huge spike in November, and then it went down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any coincidence with the months, right?
Yeah.
NFL is king.
Well, people want to watch it.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, I mean, people will. I don't want to say, oh, all these people have to sign up for Netflix. A lot of people have Netflix. There's probably a good number of people that have canceled it because there are no particular shows they want to watch at any given moment. But they'll come back. I know a thing right now with streaming. This was actually another story from Variety. I was reading yesterday or the day before about how the streaming services are starting to resemble TV networks in a traditional sense with regard to programming, because they don't want as much subscriber churn. The whole let's release 8 episodes in one day and then you binge it and then now what? So then people will cancel their subscription until some other show comes around. And of course, there's so much content anyway, like you get overwhelmed. So now, among other approaches, one is to have like shows on a regular schedule. Like TV traditionally has been, to get around subscriber churn so you stick with that platform over and over again. This might be part of that. And I know a Christmas Day Game is a standalone for Netflix, but that if you start getting more and more of that, you're more likely to stick with the platform long term.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I guess I didn't even think about that too. When that schedule does get released, I'm going to have to start paying attention to what freaking platforms are going to be on now too.
Like I'm already like, remember last week I was saying talking about the breadth of visibility and how I'll always let my mom know, like, hey, it's on Fox this week, it's on CBS, and she's watching. She has cable, but she doesn't do streaming platforms. Again, she's in her 70s, so she's of the generation is like, what am I doing? I mean, not that no one does that, but that's a little too much. So I'm kind of not looking for her to be like, sorry, Mom, this one's on Peacock.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's like a Packers-Vikings game, and she's like, what? I'm like, well, I mean, you can listen on the radio, and she will. She has no problem doing that, but you don't want too much of that if the point is to have as many fans as possible. So, again, I don't think the NFL was going that way. I don't want them to go too far that way. Well, no, I don't care. They shouldn't want to go too far that way. But it's a philosophical difference versus, like, again, the
well, and it's like we mentioned too, whoever that new commissioner is going to be might be a younger, new age type of thing.
Exactly. It could change over. We don't know. But it's also maybe an organizational difference. NBA wants to be as cutting edge as possible. That's their approach. And maybe both work in different ways. We don't know. But it does make watching NFL games a bit more of a challenge, where a lot of other sports are that way already, and the NFL's kind of coming around. I mean, hello, baseball. Now you got Roku.
Yeah.
Or you know how to access Roku, I should say.
Yeah.
Marty Green definitely all in. He's been like the evangelist for Roku for like a decade now. But there's so many options for Major League Baseball. There's so many. Soccer. Ask Premier League fans, what channel is your favorite team on this week? It happens all the time with those.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where that all plays out. It's going to be boatloads of cash from Netflix. By the way, see, Tom Brady is already saying he regretted his roast.
Yep. Wow. So why'd you do it?
Right.
Would you
I mean, what did you expect? Yes, you can have like, hey, kids are off limits and all that, but at the same time, you're not off limits. And he said, his quote was from a podcast that, he wasn't aware of like how the jokes on him would affect his kids and that. I'm like, you kind of had to have an idea, right? I mean, come on, you've seen these before. They're going to go after you.
Right. Would you do a roast? Would you be the subject of a roast?
No. Nope.
You can't do it?
Nope. Now I would love to do one on somebody.
Well,
but
of course.
you gotta play both sides. So no,
right.
I would not.
See, honestly, this is gonna sound maybe masochistic. I'd do it. I'd be fascinated to see what. And look, there would be some. I'd be like, how dare you? I'm honestly, I'd be a little more concerned, kind of what he's saying, about like what other people would think. Like, what would my mom think? What would my wife think? Like, are they going to hear something like, hey, and like, oh, sorry.
See, that doesn't bother me, like, because I know they're going to have my back or whatever.
Well, they would. I think it's more like, would they get upset? And then I got to tell them, like, look, it's a roast. Come on, this is what happens. Don't get too upset about this.
No, yeah.
But that's the thing with Brady. Come on, you knew this was going to happen.
It's a money grab from Brady. That's what it was. It's what it is. The narrative out there too, I think this was from Pro Football Talk, about, is it kind of almost an arms race between him and Peyton to see who can be the, a controlling owner in the NFL first,
Mhm.
Cash money wise.
Right. How interested are you going to watch, presuming the schedule doesn't have the Packers on at the same time, and they won't? But are you? Well, no, they can't because of Brazil. Are you going to watch Cowboys at Browns, Brady game number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least I'm going to watch part of it.
I was gonna say I might not be the whole thing, but it's that curiosity factor of like, okay, is this actually going to sound okay? Sound
Mhm.
good? Because I just saw this morning too that it's like official, like Greg Olson's getting demoted to the 2 team,
Mhm.
to the 2 squad for Fox,
Yeah.
which I think is ridiculous, but he deserves a number 1 booth somewhere.
They're all. I mean, to be honest, there's part of me that actually wants to wait like a couple weeks because I mean, there could. I mean, I'm very fascinated, but I also want to like let him get a bit of a rhythm and then assess. That's probably the more fair.
That's not the
approach.
society we live in, though,
I
Luke.
know,
I mean, we got to see it right away.
Right, and they're going to be. Oh my gosh, Twitter's takes after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe that's why he did the roast, so he gets used to it.
Maybe. I mean, because he's going to get plenty.
Mhm.
And like, even if he's okay, he's going to get plenty.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't even watched it yet.
No,
I think I've seen enough clips and I've heard enough about it. I don't need to watch it.
neither do I. I got the gist of it, and I'm good.
Mhm.
Plus, I've always been ambivalent on Brady stuff. Maybe I'm getting a little more anti now just because of hype. But yeah, like I've said all along, like I've never been a Brady hater. I've never been a Patriots hater. Like, okay, so he's a really good, very, very good all-time quarterback. I don't hate him.
Mhm.
I'm also not a fan. I'm just like, okay, he is what he is, and he's really, really good at being a quarterback. Let's see if he can do other stuff.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
So, all right, that's your business of sports brought to you by Security Financial Bank. We'll take a quick break. We'll get back to some more baseball talk. Brewers, first pitch coming up in less than 4 hours from now. Also, any leaks yet? We'll tell you. I had a buddy of mine just text me and ask if you could ask Doug Gottlieb one question about taking the Phoenix job, what would it be? And honestly, I think my question would be to him, what would you tell a recruit or your player if they asked you, like, how much time are you committing to the program? Like, can I count on you to be like, because how many times do you hear the coaches say 24/7 I'm available, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd ask Coach Gottlieb something like that. Like, hey, if something pops up and you're on your radio show, can I still get a hold of you? You know what I mean?
Not 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Sorry, I'm on the air.
But something like that. Like, how committed are you to?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a stepping stone for Coach.
Oh gosh, I mean, granted, I don't think most players would clap back right at their coach, even in this empowerment. They wouldn't, but you could see what in some testy exchange, something like, "Yeah, you want me to be committed? You're on the radio." Like, yeah, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
What's your comeback, Coach Gottlieb?
Right
To that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
So I don't know. It'll be curious, and I feel like that's where I'm going to be interested to hear him with DP here in about an hour, because I feel like Dan Patrick will probably ask questions like that.
Oh, he's an excellent interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
He will probe.
Yep.
And obviously they know each other. This isn't
right. But I mean, what's your sales pitch as a coach? What are you going to be telling recruits in their homes? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? What's going to be that draw? What is it going to? What's the elevator music or whatever? You know what they say,
right?
That's
the elevator. Yeah.
That I'll be curious about that.
Yeah.
So
this will be fascinating.
Oh, it's going to be very interesting to watch this all play out. No doubt about it. I still firmly believe I don't think he'll be there within 5 years.
No, this is not a long-term thing.
No.
I also think there's about a 10% chance that somehow he ends up not being coach at all.
Really?
Yeah, at some point there'll be some realization of, this isn't going to work.
Interesting. I feel like he will be, but
or I'd say there's a 10% chance of that. I think there's also an additional, I'll say a 15% chance on top of that he stops doing the radio show.
Okay.
Again, that he realizes he can't do both. You know what? Actually, I'll raise it to 20%, but I'm going to include the possibility that he has a fill-in a lot during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Filling in for Doug Gottlieb for the 6th week in a row. Which, hey, let's be real. Dan Patrick, remember when he was gone so many times from the show years ago that was like, filling in for Dan Patrick. Like they recognized he was gone a lot because he took so much time off. You may end up having something like that with Gottlieb. So what I'm saying is there's a 30% chance overall.
Well, for crying out loud, Jim Rome takes like the whole summer off to go up to Eagle River. Yeah.
Right. But that's the summer when sports takes are not as big.
Mm-hmm.
When Gottlieb is gone, a good chunk of that time during the season is, well, you got the two biggest sports, take-wise anyway, are happening at that time, NFL and NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone wants to talk about that sort of stuff, and you're not going to be there for that?
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, I think there's a 30% chance something gets altered. So that's a 70% chance nothing will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, altered is kind of an open-ended word. I mean, you can go different ways with that.
Yeah,
so.
but where it's not going to be that he's going to full-time do the show and full-time, he will have to be full-time coach. There's no, well, have a fill-in coach for about a quarter of the, nope. That's a full-in thing. The radio show's the question.
Is the Resch Center going to build a studio?
Ooh.
Turn a room into a studio?
Do they have, they've got skyboxes there.
Oh, yeah.
I've been inside the Resch Center, like in the actual bowl one time, and that was to have the tailgating thing. It was at one of those
for a Green Bay game.
Yeah, but because of all the room for where you could go, they're like, hey, go in and literally sit on the floor of the Resch Center, which is pretty cool, actually, sitting on the floor of the Resch Center, having that. But that's the only time, and I think I remember seeing boxes. So yeah, maybe they'll turn one of those into a studio.
Well, hey, he'll have a prime locale for the draft next year.
Yes,
so.
he will.
There you go.
Oh, boy. He doesn't have to move at all.
Nope. So
unless he's already moved on to another team by then.
Oh, but yeah, so no leaks yet, people. A little disappointing. I was hoping to have something out there, but nothing. Nada. No legal tampering period when it comes to the schedule release right now. So yeah. So let's talk some baseball, shall we? Brewers picking up a win yesterday. Thanks in part to Sal Frelick having a fantastic game, both offensively and defensively, hitting his first home run last night, making a couple of web gem catches in the outfield there too. So Brewers holding on to a 4-3 victory, scoring all 4 runs in the second. They'll try to win the series less than 4 hours from now. First pitch is at 12:10. Robert Gasser's on the mound for the Crew for his second career start before the Brewers start on their longest road trip of the season. By the way, I talked a little bit about it yesterday. Are you into the whole new metric about bat swing and that?
Saw that was unveiled late last week. As I was listening to Sarah Langs discuss it on the Baseball Tonight pod, and I saw Jeff Passan describe that. I'm intrigued by it. I always like more data. I'm also always wary that analytics is going to drive one particular approach that deadens the game a little bit more, as we see that in so many sports overall, and especially baseball. But I'll say at this moment, I'm curious about this. Let's also see how this all pans out. Because Contreras is one of the best guys with regard to bat speed, if I recall correctly. It was one of the highlights.
Well, I mean,
like in terms of like a ratio.
Yeah, for like overall, I mean, if we're just looking at, he was like number 25 or something like that. For bat speed, like 75. He was a top Brewer one, but then it kind of fluctuated back and forth. So
see if I can find that story that Passan wrote, because he was doing like the 5 immediate takeaways, and I may have to scroll through a little bit to actually find it. But I do remember noting that, like, oh, that's pretty good. While I'm looking for that, would you like to see the Brewers take on Paul Skeens at this point, or are you just as soon avoid him at this point?
Oh, I see the rookie.
Yeah, because thankfully, or not thankfully, I guess, because I mean, he wasn't perfect. This wasn't the Strasburg start in, what was that, 2012? So I remember watching that night like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't that. That being said, it looked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, what's with Pittsburgh? By the way, O'Neal Cruz and his arm over there. I mean, that dude should be a pitcher, not a shortstop. Just saying. But,
also that.
No. By the way, I've got the StatCast. The highest Brewer. This is updated right now. The highest Brewer on here is Contreras, but he fell down to 41. So he's 74.3. It looks like. Oh yeah, that's average bat speed.
Yeah. Okay. So I found the Jeff Passan article. It said the best of the highlights. The best hitter in baseball nobody knows. Says he doesn't even. He has more blasts than Soto and Ohtani. Only 4 players have squared up more balls than him. Because squaring up the ball, when we've heard that term, but that's like a metric as part of this. Basically, just nailing it. He doesn't even swing on average as hard as his brother, but that doesn't matter because William Contreras does plenty of damage with a 74.2 mile per hour effort. Not only is he atop the list of blasts, that's another term, but it's not particularly close. His 58 are ahead of Soto and Ohtani, 50 and 46. His big league best blast rate of 34.5% is 2.5 times the major league average of 13.7. The reason is clear. He swings hard, hits the ball very hard, and doesn't strike out much. Sub 20% punch-out rate on the season. It's an exceptional combination of skills, and to have maintained this offensive output playing every Brewers game, not to mention 33 of 40 at catcher, is MVP caliber work.
Yeah. So here, okay. So I've got the percent contact squared up category. Okay. Contreras isn't even number 1 on his team. He's number 3 in the majors, though. Blake Perkins is number 1 in Major League Baseball. 49.5%.
And how many at-bats?
53. But so then it's Juan Soto, 48.3, tied with Contreras, who's at 48.3. They both have 83 at-bats. Competitive swing percent. It's like, how the hell do you come up with this stuff with some of these metrics here? Contreras is 14th, but the blasts. So contact, number 1, William Contreras, 34.3%. Nobody else is above 30. And then percentage of competitive swings only he is number 1, 2, 24.4%. So how do you come up with this crap? I mean,
were there like 15 or 20 cameras all set around that have been analyzing all of this?
it's almost like Pro Football Focus when you got to like look at every single player on the field for every single play, and it's just like, good Lord.
It is. In effect, that is. But at least in this case, I think a lot of it can be computerized in because, again, of the locations. So that should take care of more of it than, gosh, Pro Football Focus. You've got to watch and then assess.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the data kind of takes care of itself. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that, but this reinforces the Contreras thing even more.
MLB.com has their 7 biggest surprises from the first quarter of the season. Number 4 is the Brewers. There was an industry-wide sense that the Brewers would take a big step backward this year, and you can understand why. Craig Counsell is one of the most respected managers in baseball, and he not only left, he went to a division rival Cubs. He was fouled out the door shortly thereafter by staff ace Corbin Burns, and star closer Devin Williams got hurt and is yet to pitch in 2024. Brewers won the Central last year, but how in the world could you expect them to do so again without those guys? Well, they have just kept winning, going toe-to-toe with Counsell's Cubs, yet they are doing so in a completely different fashion from the one that we have become accustomed to seeing come from them. That's to say, they've been raking. Bryce Terang has been the perfect spark plug. Willie Adames is having the best year of his career. Christian Yelich has flashed MVP form again around an IL stint. Rhys Hoskins and Gary Sanchez were perfect late-season additions, and William Contreras has been one of the best hitters in baseball. Pitching hasn't quite been up to its old tricks, but it hasn't needed to be, not with one of the highest-scoring offenses in Major League Baseball. The Brewers just might be slugging their way to first place. When in recent history have they ever said that? It is completely different. It's all led by their offense this year.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, I'm old enough. Well, I don't remember it in real time. I was still too young, but I still can. When I think of the Brewers, if for an identity, I think of them. Maybe it's because Harvey's Wallbangers became such a prominent nickname, but I associate them with being a big offensive team. So, but of late, that's not been the case. That they've been a really big pitching team,
Pitching and defense.
So I think we could start doing the if the season ended today thing. So right now they'd be the 3 seed, and right now they would be playing the Braves.
Okay.
Oh, no, strike that. I apologize. I'm still getting my numbers off. They would not be playing the Braves.
Okay.
They'd be playing the 6th seed, which would be the Nationals or the Padres.
Okay.
So actually, no.
That's a lot better.
It would be Braves Cubs right now, because the Braves would be the 4 and the Cubs would be the 5 right now. Phillies are the 1, the Dodgers would be the 2. So yeah, sorry, I gave people a heart attack on that one. You're not playing the Braves right there.
Yeah.
All right. Gosh, right now we would have a sub 500 team. We got a lot of season to go. I think it'll take care of itself. But right now we'd have
playoffs need to start now.
Why not?
Yeah, right. Mid-season tournament in baseball.
But oh my gosh. Well, I mean,
give us small market teams a chance to win something. Just like the Lakers got a chance to win something.
Hey, they got a trophy.
They got a trophy and they got a little banner up there too. So there you go.
Darvin Ham, in-season tournament champion. I'm not ripping.
You can't take that away from them.
Nope. Can't.
Nope. So
nobody.
Yeah. So.
Hey, on the schedule thing, because we keep talking about the leagues. Do you
follow? Did we get a leak?
No.
Oh.
But that's maybe to explain. Do you follow Jimmy Traina?
No. Sports
Illustrated. He's their media guy. He basically took over Richard Deitch when he left. They'll still sometimes be on each other's stuff. Traina tweeted out a little bit ago saying, "I would not expect many NFL schedule leaks today. The games released so far have been league-approved announcements. I've heard the league made a big effort this year to crack down on leaks." And he has some pretty good connections. Like he'll get like the big announcers on his pod. So he's got connections.
All right.
So I'm guessing he would know. I'm not sure if he's quite to like Andrew Marchand level connections, but he's in the ballpark. So if he's saying that, I'd believe it.
Well, I think a big thing is just maybe going to those teams, in the hotels and saying, no, don't release any of the open dates or anything like that. I think that's where a lot of them came from.
Yeah.
Just keep them all blocked off until the schedule comes out, and just keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
That's probably it. So, yeah,
You know, the easiest way to not leak it, it would never happen, is like, don't send it to the teams until you send it out to everybody. That would solve the leaks.
right.
But then you don't have your social media teams coming up with creative videos. Although, I mean, you can do it pre-hand because you already know the opponents and home and away.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
also look, the social media clips, the point isn't to watch them at the premiere time, it's to watch them days later. Hence, again, the Titans man on the street thing that was so hilarious. You could watch that months later after the season and it's still funny. It's not that you have to see it at 2:45 p.m. and if you miss it, you missed it. No, it's watching it after. It's the cleverness of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that it doesn't matter if they all get, if every single team releases their social media creation for the schedule at 7 p.m. tonight, fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We'll find the good ones, and that's okay. It does intrigue me though. Again, to the point of the NFL trying to own everything, and now we're trying to own a day here. Let's not get too parsed into this, but isn't it kind of better to have all these leaks throughout the day so you're constantly talking about it versus trying to maybe hold back till tonight so everyone's watching one show? But if you can't watch the show, then it doesn't matter.
Just release a dang thing. So, but yeah. I get why they're not. So, because they can do anything they want, and we all soak it in. We're talking. This is what we're doing. We're talking about a schedule that has to be released.
Schedule,
for crying out loud.
Schedule.
I mean, when the baseball one gets released, like during the middle of their the current season, June. Nobody's talking about that.
What? Yeah,
So, all right, let's take a quick break and then we'll wrap things up with little picks and predicts. We got some hoops games and Stanley Cup games and all that fun stuff. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Dave, my man, not quite sure what you mean by Ben Sheets curveball when in his prime. So not quite expand upon that if you could, bud. So let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire, shall we? You ready?
Let's
do it. Should we start off with the Stanley Cup? Last night we saw Edmonton picking up a win to tie up that series against Vancouver. Boston picking up a win to keep their series alive against Florida. Just one game tonight, but if they win, they move on. Colorado at Dallas. Dallas up 3-1. Who are you riding with?
them.
The Stars?
Not yeah.
See, I know some people who are still fans of the Stars because they were in Minnesota, but you're the total opposite.
I am the opposite. I'm sorry. I'm burned by them. I mean, nothing against the people currently playing for them. I mean, it's generationally on. The Avalanche have that bit of a problem of having one of their top goal scorers suspended for half a year midway through the series.
Yep.
Valerie Nishushkin. It's kind of a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I know it's the player assistance program, and there's a lot we don't know. It's pretty clearly personal. And if you look at some of his background, you're like, oh boy. But we don't know. That being said, that on the ice, it's big disadvantage that Colorado's, like you like to say, done.
Yeah.
and I don't want to make light of Nishushkin, but in terms of this, done. They are. I'm sorry, they're not moving on. Dallas is going to advance to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Stars too. So let's do NBA playoffs. We got a couple game fives tonight. Cleveland at Boston. Boston is up 3-1 in that series, favored by 14.5. Have we heard about Donovan Mitchell yet?
I've not seen any announcement yet. I'm taking Boston with the under. I mean, I guess if Mitchell's out, maybe take the over, but I don't know. So right now I'm taking Boston with the under.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Boston.
14.5. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go over, actually. I think they take care of business at home. Let's go with, and then Dallas at OKC. OKC 4.5 is the line.
Ooh, boy. This is a tough series to figure.
I have not been impressed with this under in this series.
No. Well, there's your experience thing. This is the NBA stair-step thing, which I wonder if it's going to be less of a deal now as we get more into the second apron era, and it's going to be tougher to put together dynasties and kind of build your team. But usually the younger teams take about a year or two to get there. We've seen this over and over. I was in the back of my mind with all the Timberwolves talk a week ago, like, yeah, but this seems a little bit accelerated. Thunder, maybe the same thing's happening. Whereas the Mavericks, they were in the conference finals 2 years ago. They got Luka Doncic on their team. I will take. Oh, this is a coin flip. Who are you taking again?
I'm going to take Dallas tonight.
I will take the Thunder by a point.
All right. Let's do
the under
there. So let's do a couple of baseball games here before I got one more coming up here. Toronto at Baltimore.
Ooh, okay. The struggling Toronto Blue Jays, not struggling Baltimore Orioles. Who's pitching? Okay, Bassett versus Bradish. Orioles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Baltimore here too. Let's do before we get to the Brewers. How about Chicago at Atlanta? Morton versus Javier Assad.
We're doing accents on everyone right now. No, I'm going to go Atlanta.
I'm going to go Atlanta too.
Bravos.
On Prime Video, Yankees versus your Twins.
I wonder if I can watch that, or is that still blacked out? I don't have Comcast because we don't have that here. I'm gonna, because Lopez, he's gotten his act back. I mean, I want to say act back together. That first start looked bad, and then he's been good since. I'll take the Twins in this one.
I'm gonna go Yankees for me, and then we'll go Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. Perez versus Gasser.
I'm trying to decide if I feel like the Pirates have the Brewers number, or if that's from other seasons, and that doesn't really count for right now. I will take the Milwaukee Brewers to win this game.
I'm going to go Brewers to offense.
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Gasser is going to have the type of game that he did last week in his major league debut, but I think the offense will be out there to help him out. Okay. So, PGA Championship winner. Yes, that does start tomorrow.
Oh, boy. and I was listening to the Double Hammer guy in the SP pod, and I didn't finish where he was going to make his predictions. But did you hear the Scotty Scheffler stats? That he is comparable to Tiger Woods 2000 right now in terms of bogeys per round and was it birdies per round? He's basically at Tiger Woods' level from 2000, trending thus far, but we're far enough in the year. All right, let's do it, Scheffler. And I know he's coming off the birth of the kid.
Weird.
Let's do it.
Way to think outside the box with
Well,
the
hey.
Scheffler pick. Yeah, that's thinking.
And it's probably the safe pick too.
Yeah, he's easily the favorite in this. So.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Let's see if he can actually.
You're not going with the Rory just getting divorced announced and coming off the win this past weekend. Now, some people saying, "Yep, definitely betting on Rory now for this weekend."
Whose personal life is going to torpedo their chances this week?
Yeah, because the top two odds-on favorites are Scotty and Rory.
Yeah,
and then it's Scotty right here. I'm seeing is plus 300. Rory's plus 600. Brooks then jumps up as third but that's plus 1,000.
So who you got?
I got none of those guys. I'm going Colin Morikawa.
Ooh,
see,
okay.
I
riding the hot streak from the Masters.
I think about out. I'm going. I don't go the easy route. Now, if I really wanted to, I'd go Tiger because apparently he shot a 62 in his practice round over there. So I should be like, oh yeah, it's easily Tiger's going to win now.
He's your guy.
Definitely, he's got the goatee back. Ooh. So
okay, here we go.
Now we're just saying, all right, he shoots a 62, 63, whatever it was at that practice round, and goatee back. Watch out, Tiger.
Rain will be a factor, shall we say? 50% chance of showers and storms after 2. So a good amount in today. Today's sorry, my bad. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's going to be good, but practice rounds will be dicey. Friday, Saturday, 80 and 60% chances of showers, respectively.
Tiger make the cut?
Yeah, I said no last time, and then he did. I'm going to say he does.
Yeah, I think he does too.
I know that one Masters round was horrific, but overall, looking a little better. So I think he makes the cut.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do too.
I think it's a safe move.
Top 20 finish?
No.
How dare you? You really are.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see what are some of the. I'm going to get you some nuggets here.
Look, I've had plenty of nuggets. One of them is really huge. His name is Nicola.
Yeah, this was okay. This was tight. I thought so. There's a good article on SI.com. Remember the last time he was at? I think this was the last time he was at Valhalla, the 2000 where he defeated Bob May.
Yep.
Of the Tiger Slam.
Mm-hmm.
That iconic photo was pointing at the golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in that birdie putt in the playoff.
Yep.
So, top 20 finish.
Okay.
Top 20 finish. You know what? Screw it. Top 15 finish.
Whoa.
No, top 10. Top 10.
I dare you. Top 7. I dare you.
Let's not get too crazy.
Because top 10 Tiger Woods is like totally normal.
Mm-hmm. He's going to do it.
Okay. Would get attention, that's for sure.
PGA Championship needs some attention. Let's be real.
Sure he doesn't slip on the grass on Saturday and tears an ACL.
Why would you wish that upon
I don't want
people?
that. I'm just,
well, then why do you even throw out that scenario?
Bad karma? I don't want bad karma. Look, yes, I'm not related to that. The whole everything Tiger, at some point golf has to move on. You build up someone else. Don't hold on to the past too much.
He is going, he's got so much metal in him. He's just going to be like a robot out there.
At least it's showers and not thunderstorms in the forecast. That would be a problem.
So he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
So.
I would at the same time, though, it would draw a lot of attention. I also want to see him do well at someplace other than Augusta. This would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods doing well, and I know the history of Valhalla, but this would be oh, wait, what? He could win the PGA? Oh, so it's not just him and the Masters. Ooh. And that makes you wonder, maybe he does have a little bit more in the tank for some majors.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It would be cool if it does happen.
I'm trying to confirm if I saw that practice round score, if it was true or not. I did see somewhere, though. It was somebody said it was 62, 63 or something. Could be wrong, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. This was from okay, yeah, it was a Twitter account. Twitter, Tiger Woods allegedly shot a 62 in his practice round at Valhalla.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Top 10, man. It's gonna happen. It is going to happen.
Oh,
And he's
boy.
got the goatee on too. Yeah, he's oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Don't bet any of my money on it though. Just
But you still got Morikawa as your favorite.
yes, Morikawa is going to win because I will think outside the box and not pick the easy one of Scheffler. So
It's not that far out of the box though. You're not doing like some random guy.
Scheffler is the easy pick. Or are you talking about my pick?
Your pick.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
that's
he's plus 2,500 odds.
Oh, I'm totally taking the favorite here,
Yeah.
but based on the numbers, I'm like, I think he's going to do it.
Well,
Too.
I'm not going to pick Ricky Fowler as much as I want to pick Ricky Fowler and I want him to win, but he's got the same odds as Tiger.
Just pick Should we just like I should start picking Xander Schauffele like every tournament because at some point it'll actually work and I'll sound like a genius.
That's actually what Justice picked.
He did?
Justice did pick Xander Schauffele.
How big of a deal would it be if Xander Schauffele wins this one?
Meh.
The whole like
That's
when
my
is he going to
response.
win?
Meh.
And but see, the part of the other counter is if Xander Schauffele walked into our building right now, I would not recognize him.
No.
I don't know what I mean, I would kind of would know him on a golf course, but I wouldn't know what he looks like.
No. So, really quick, there's another. I can't read the whole article because I'm not paying for it, but sounds like this is from Bloomberg. Netflix nears a deal for the NFL games. Should know today, obviously, but this was updated this morning. This article, so literally an hour ago. But I can't open it to read the whole thing. So, congratulations, NFL. You didn't leak anything for this morning. Job well done. Go home and take it as a W.
Cool.
Which means tomorrow morning it will be nothing but schedule talk.
Great.
No,
Yay.
I am not picking wins or losses either.
So you don't have to watch the season. You'll know.
That's what these 2-hour shows are going to be on tonight.
They pick it all right there. Oh gosh. And we're all going to do it, and we're all going to pay attention.
I'm not picking games.
Well, not you.
I'm not picking. I will stand down on that. I am not picking games
contrarian
on May 16th. No. And don't even ask me. Well, ask me in August.
Who you
That's
got in
better.
Packers Eagles?
Ask me in August.
Thought I could trick you into that.
No,
Okay.
ask me in August.
Okay, you're
so.
holding out. That's pretty good.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yep. All right. DP and Dan at start next. Don't forget, Doug Gottlieb's going to be on in 25 minutes. This is still going to sound weird. The new head coach for UW Green Bay Phoenix. So get his thoughts. I think this is his first interview besides his own show,
right?
Of course. So have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We'll know the Packer schedule.